Hello and welcome everybody. This is Jörn from Startuprad.io. We are right now here in Frankfurt. As you can see here in the back, there's some skyline for you. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a rainy day, so you don't see that much. We are here at Deutsche Börse FinTech Hub to have a little conversation with Safedroid, Yassine here next to me. And just before we start, support for this podcast and the following message comes from Slack, where work happens all over the world. No more losing time context switching. More than 1,000 apps seamlessly integrate with Slack, so that's less time jumping between tools and more time to get things done. More at slack.com. Appreciate the sponsoring. Thank you, guys. And now a little bit here to my guest, Yassine. So, the German listeners to our podcast may know you already. Can you give us a little wrap up? What did lead you here to be a founder of the Safedroid FinTech here in Frankfurt?
Sure. So my name is Yassine. I'm one of the three founders of Safedroid and handling the position as the CEO. Before becoming a fintech entrepreneur, actually, in my days back, I was a very classical business consultant. I worked at McKinsey & Company for more than 4 years, solely consulting banks. And at the end, very honestly, I was so much frustrated that I quit my job, living and spending all the time in the virtual PowerPoint and Excel world with close to zero real-life impact. And then also understanding that most of the banks were so much struggling with regulation, with cost cutting, and not really hands-on in terms of implementing innovation. At the end led me to quitting this job, becoming a fintech entrepreneur. And my journey here started with another fintech, a robo-advisor, also located here in Frankfurt called Vamo. And after 2.5 years, I left this one and then started with Safedroid, which was a new idea, which is really maximum simplification of personal savings for the broad mass market, so for all users with a lack of self-discipline and saving money and with a lower income. So to fully automate that and to help these people achieve their personal financial goals.
We got to tell our viewers and listeners here, we got in contact pretty early because you are also one of the co-hosts of the FinTech Meetup here at Frankfurt and Rhein-Main.
Yes.
I was also an alpha tester for the Safedroid app. Still have it on my phone. Awesome.
Cool.
And so there's a little bit history between us and you. I actually looked it up. You're one of the most frequent guests we have on our podcast.
Okay.
Like in the past, you've joined all the FinTech reviews.
Yes.
14, 15, 16. Now you will join the new recording 17 as well, hopefully.
Yes, already looking forward. Sure.
Awesome. And we talked about Safedroid. We talked about your intention to raise venture capital. Everybody should listen to this podcast. He's very diplomatic, circumventing circumstances he didn't want to talk about, plus now this recording. So yes, glad to have you back. As I said, we're here at the FinTech Hub of Deutsche Börse. This is in the beautiful borough of Bornheim, here located in Frankfurt. Yes. And you are here with a whole team of people, plus 2 lovely dogs. The dogs actually barked a little bit at me. So if you hear something in the back, that's normal business noise here. So tell us a little bit about what is new with Safedroid and how your VC raising attempts are actually going right now. So you're the most frequent guest I have on my podcast, switching between German and English. As you may know, we're stopping the German podcast Startuprad.io towards the end of this year. This recording is taken on 15th of December 2017. That means we still have the podcast here, but in the next year, Startuprad.io will only run with me as of now. So, most frequent guest, Safedroid. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so Safedroid basically is a personal saving app. We automate savings for average mass market users. And we have done that by maximum simplification of the process and by bringing in artificial intelligence and gamification elements. So what does that mean? Basically, you as a user, you just download our free app from the Play Store or App Store. Mm-hmm. Then you connect it to your current account. So you give us a reading right to this one, and we apply our AI in order to analyze your private cash flows on your current account. And once the AI will identify that there is savings potential, meaning that there is actually some excess cash which you don't need for consumption throughout the month, we will automatically then put this money aside towards your personal savings goal, which you have specified. This may be the next summer vacation with your girlfriend, a new laptop you want to purchase. And we open a free savings account with our partner bank, which is Wirecard, I think also quite well known. And the money is then really physically transferred there via direct debit from your current account to this separate savings account. It's fully deposit insured, so nothing can happen to these funds stored there. And then over time, in small steps, you advance and you finally achieve your personal financial goals. And this especially helps people with a lower income, with a lower self-discipline in order to regularly save money. And that's basically the value proposition which we have been now out at the market for more than 1 year. We have gathered so far more than 200K downloads. The average app rating is 4.2. And I think the users are quite satisfied. Also, if you look to the recommendation rate, which is 97% at the moment.
And going a little bit into the app downloads, more than 200,000. Congratulations for that. When do you think the 250,000 will be breached, like 2018?
Yes, I think so at the moment, the user growth is still up there. So I think this should actually happen in the first quarter. So we are advancing quite fast. And this is, of course, at the moment, our key goal to really expand the user base, because this is essential, not only, of course, for our business case, but also to further improve and build our AI capabilities. The algorithm, of course, will get the better, the more users we have, the more data we can feed in. So the accuracy level will increase over time.
And we're here today because you're upping the game.
Yes. So now actually, and this is the new shot we are going for, it's about crypto savings, right? So I think everybody probably has noticed in the recent months, Bitcoin especially, but also Ethereum, the whole topic of cryptocurrencies is now across all the media. If you switch on television, if you are reading the newspapers, if you're online portals, basically everywhere in your life, the topic pops up, right? And what I'm seeing, and I was in the situation 3 months ago, that actually it caught my interest. So I wanted to experience it myself. But then the real issue started, because I thought, well, I have understood the topic. Now let's go and purchase some Bitcoin. But unfortunately, it's not as easy as this. So you need to find the right exchange. You need to find the right wallet. You need to understand what the private key is and how you handle it securely. And this is very technically complex. So honestly, I was already at the borderline, and actually I didn't go through the full process in the first place. So I then actually stopped. I talked to some friends who were more knowledgeable about this topic at this point in time.
You mean your CTO?
For example, my CTO, exactly, as I'm not the techie in the team, very obviously. And then after that, I only completed, but I think many people are withheld actually by these adoption barriers. And that's what we want to eliminate. So basically, what we are now offering is crypto savings without any technological adoption barriers. So the idea is that we keep the same gamified and simple user experience in our application. You just download it, you set up your savings goal, you connect it to your current account or to your credit card in the future, what will also be possible. And then you just select if you want to have your savings stored in Euro or in Bitcoin or in Ethereum. So for the user, essentially, it's just a decision in which currency you want to have your savings, but all the rest is still as simple as saving in the old Safedroid environment. And the best thing is that not only we will then auto-convert your savings into the cryptocurrency, we will also securely store them, but also we will offer a credit card, which you can then use to easily convert back your crypto into fiat, and then do your purchases at Amazon.com to buy your laptop which you want to purchase.
Okay, that's fine. So do you also offer the option like to save 90% in what you call fiat money, like meaning euros, dollars, whatever, and 10% in any given cryptocurrency?
Definitely. So you will have the free choice. You can choose either 100 and 0, or you can choose any other percentage. We want to keep this very open, very barrier-free. So the idea is really the users can experiment a bit. It's always, if you are saving with Safedroid, typically about low transactions amounts. So the smooths, our savings rules, which we have, there are some roundup rules where then basically by definition the amount being saved is less than €1. We have like a savings rule whenever Donald Trump twitters, then again typically people would just set 10 cent, 20 cent. So I think this is exactly the example of micro savings, and then micro savings being transferred and auto-converted into cryptocurrency. So this is the whole idea, to keep it also barrier-free in terms of the money amount which you need in order to test the experience of handling crypto.
Well, we should talk about a few things.
Yes.
At first, I do remember it used to be like €5 every time Donald Trump twitters, so apparently he twitters too much.
Obviously. And finally, I think we have found a solution how to give a advantage to the people, not only just listening to whatever he produces on Twitter, but actually the positive impact finally of his talk is that you will have some savings on the side. And I think this, as controversial as you can discuss Donald Trump, finally is one good thing, that you can use his tweets in order to save money.
Okay. And the next thing would be the difference between cryptocurrency and fiat money. So basically, fiat money is the authority money, you know, as euros, as dollars, whatever. And there's one central bank behind it. There's a whole government backing it in terms of euro, several governments backing it. There's a lot of people working very hard to ensure the stability of the currency, meaning the exchange rate, how much it is worth against other currencies, and keep a very low inflation, meaning the purchasing power of the currency stays the same. You don't have any of that in cryptocurrency. So it's completely different. Can you say a little bit about what the cryptocurrency is?
Yeah, so basically, I think maybe to just start also from your argument, right? Of course, in the old world and the classical economy, exactly what you have been describing was perceived as the big advantage, right, of having a centralized currency which is controlled by a, so to speak, independent central bank, whatever that means, and basically then trusting in that the government, the central bank, will act in the best interest of the population, right? And I think here, and this is now the key question, if you look to the recent financial crisis, if you look to state crisis, which we had basically certain states which went into bankruptcy, if you look what happened in the whole financial industry, one can argue that this was actually driven by all these intermediaries who are in charge of maintaining the system, right? And I think here is, if you ask me, the key advantage of a cryptocurrency, that it's decentralized. Right, so you take out all the intermediaries. There are, in this sense, no banks, no regulators, which can influence. And this is what you meant by creating stability. But if I take the downside to it, you can also manipulate. And this is what we have seen in many circumstances once it comes to FX trading and other trading activities. And I think there still are many lawsuits going on against banks who have proactively engaged in these kinds of market manipulation. And I think this is, for me, the key advantage of those cryptocurrencies, that they are decentralized. At the same point, they are safe because the information is stored securely, it's easily transferable, it's also fast. So I think the whole system has a whole lot of advantages over the existing system. And also, and I think then this comes to a more philosophical question, is how do you believe in the future? Will the states, will the governments, will the central banks act? Will it be in favor of the population, or may they rather follow individual goals, which will help the state or the bank or the regulator in order to pursue their goals, but not so much the goals in the common interest? And I think if the people, and I think this was also one of the ideas why the cryptocurrencies have been created, in order to have a more trustful network, because there are no people who can actually manipulate the currency behind, right? And I think that this, especially if you are looking for a future state of the world where certain governments may have an interest in manipulating the financial markets, will be of a very high importance.
Well, there will be so many things I could say to that, but for me, cryptocurrencies, they're also not completely risk-free. People may remember the problems they had with denial of service, hacking of exchanges, primarily aiming for Bitcoin exchanges. They remember stuff like happened to the DAO, where actually the rules set up for the cryptocurrencies been used to actually take out cryptocurrency more according to the rules, but questionably legally. And all the fraud that is now going on with ICOs, basically people make an ICO, they take the money and everybody buys it in order to actually hope it increases in price, but turns out nobody's actually acting in this currency, so the money is gone.
No, exactly. I mean, of course, there are risks, as always in life, right? Nothing is really risk-free. On the other hand side, for sure now, we are still, if you ask me, at a very early stage of this technological development, right? And I do expect, and I think this is the same, independent now if it's blockchain or any other technology, once a technology is initiated, you have the early adopters. At a certain point, you are at a tipping point where finally you will eventually reach mass marketability and the high adoption rates throughout the whole user base. Then the quality increase will also exponential in this time. And I think this even more holds true for, so to speak, an open source project, right? So if you have a whole community of members contributing to the quality, then for sure there are still some bugs inside if you're in the early days. But on the other hand side, we have really the whole crowd working in order to fix these bugs. And I think all for the hacks which we have seen, then you also see that the community is reacting to this one, right? There are the white knights who try to get the money and the code and back, and so in order that the people will not suffer from the loss. And I think this is one thing where I do believe that this market can have a high level of stability as long as the community is really active and fighting for a sustainable environment here. And I think this can, on the one hand side, be a good lever in order to further professionalize and get rid of these technical flaws which are still there. And then secondly, I think, and this is what we are seeing right now, regulation is coming to this topic, right? So of course, all the governments are now concerned, what is the technology about, how will adoption affect the classical economic system? So the key question is how to deal regulatory-wise with these topics. And I think what we are currently seeing is that regulators are now really hands-on. SEC is extremely harsh at the moment. BaFin has looked into these topics also, has released the first communications and is doing the first communications. I think from the regulatory point of view, if you ask me, it seems that regulators still have not to 100% understood the topic, but still they feel the urgent need in order to act. So I think the regulations which you currently see are, in the sense, I believe, a bit in the early days. I expect a significant change in regulation over the next 12 months. Once the regulators will also better understand the technology, better understand the community, and better understand the chances. But I believe that this is a journey, as always, right? And here we are just at the very start. I think one should rather have the perspective where we could be in 5 and 10 years from now. And another driver, which for me is extremely important, is the question: in how far will we see more real-life use cases, right? Because at the moment the discussion is going on, shall Bitcoin be rather a storage of value, as gold, as like an investment type of, or is it rather a currency which I can use for payments, right? Which may be a bit a different thing. And I think that this question is not so clearly predefined, right? There are some technological implications for both. And I think from the technology side, you can rather make the point that it may make more sense that it's a storage of value. On the other hand side, I think the market will decide if it's a means of payment, depending on how many retailers at the end of the day will accept this cryptocurrency as means of payment. And just one example, you can still say, well, it's early marketing, but Lieferando is these days now accepting Bitcoin in order to pay for your pizza, which you have ordered for home delivery. So, and I think if this number of real-life use cases will significantly increase, then we will also be at the point where mass market adoption will be significantly higher.
And you're working towards this mass market adoption because you're also working on your own ICO.
Right? Exactly. We have just now started our ICO. What we want to achieve by this one is to really lower the adoption barriers for cryptocurrencies. As I said earlier, the whole hassle-full process at the moment is, if you look from a perspective of usability, just not compatible for an average mass market user, right? Mm-hmm. You need, if you currently want to buy cryptocurrencies, you need to have a high level of technological understanding. You need to somehow really understand how the exchanges work, how the fee structure is, how to deal with the wallet, and also here with the wallet, there are so many different wallets. How to decide for the right one. I think this one again is a very nerdy technological question, right? And just by having all these points in, if you ask me, at the moment, I see no chance that an average user out there who's not already in the community will easily become a member of the community. I rather see it that all this hassle which we currently have is rather a barrier which a bit circumvences the community, and which slows down basically the distribution of cryptocurrencies. And this is where Safedroid comes in, right? So what we want to do is basically say, look, we will offer you within our app and also to our already existing user base a very simple access. So you don't need to deal with all the hassle of finding an exchange, registering there, dealing with bid-ask spreads, selecting a wallet, and then also storing your private keys. But this is what we will do, and you just select: do I want to save a small amount of money on a regular basis? So you could basically name it as a cryptocurrency savings plan. That's what we are essentially offering. Okay. At low amounts of euros, you can start with a few cents, right? So it's very easy for everyone to use and to adopt. Then we also see this as education, because you can basically, with a extremely low risk, try and experience what a cryptocurrency is like, right? Mm-hmm. If it's only a few euros, only a few cents, it will not hurt, even if there is some volatility in the crypto value. And therefore, we see this as a significant contribution to the community, because what we actually want to do with our ICO and with Safedroid is to add further members to the crypto community and help the crypto community also spread out to the average mass market users, because we believe that this will be crucial in order to drive the growth of cryptocurrencies and make them the next big thing. If we are not reaching a point where usability will become mass marketable, I think this will stay a niche market forever otherwise.
Mm-hmm. I see. And your token you are issuing right now for the Safedroid community, what is the purpose, and how will it work?
Exactly. So we are now in our ICO offering a utility token with a built-in deflation mechanism. This goes back to actually one of the recent blog posts of Vitalik Buterin also, because of course one can...
And he is the person behind Ethereum?
Exactly. And I think because here the discussion currently going on is in how far has a utility token an intrinsic and a real value behind, right? And here the idea is, and I think this is quite smart, saying, look, if you as the facilitator of the ICO basically burn a certain percentage, and that's what deflation means. So basically we will, once we collect one of the tokens for payment of our crypto services, we will then burn a certain percentage. Thereby the number of available tokens out there will decrease. And this then will eventually result that there is a lower supply of tokens over time, right? And this is the basic mechanism behind. So you have this token, you can use it for purchasing our crypto saving services. We will offer them at a very reasonable and affordable fee for all the users. And then in order to pay for this, users will be required to use as an in-app purchase system the Safedroid token. So essentially, the users get the Safedroid token within our app, or they can buy them at a crypto exchange where our token will be listed. At the crypto exchange, the price of the token will then be determined by actual market supply and demand. So for this one, it's a free market price, right? We cannot really influence. And we will then adjust the price of the tokens in our app to the market price. So that at the end, right, you will have the same price being monitored. We will reflect the market price of the token within our app. And if you wish to have more convenience, the user can just buy the token within the Safedroid app. If you want to go directly to the exchange, you can also do this.
So you're getting basically rid of the hassle to determine the value for your own cryptocurrency. Yes. You have it listed on a few crypto exchanges, and actually let the price be built.
Exactly. And I think this is the only way to have to have a really transparent and fair price building mechanism. Because otherwise, if we would try to regulate this, this would be very difficult because then really one could question the real value behind the currency, right? At the end, it must be a free market game where supply and demand will actually determine the price. And this at the end will then be determined by, of course, the prospects for the Safedroid token in the future, right? So meaning if we will add more users to our platform, if the user growth increases, then the demand for the Safedroid token will also go up, because obviously more users will need to be required to purchase the token in order to consume our crypto services inside the app. And at the same time, we will burn some of the tokens, so the demand will, so the supply, will be reduced. And if you look into this economic model, then basically you have very clear cut that a increasing demand, a decreasing supply should result in an increasing price of the token, right? But at the end of the day, we are not manipulating this price, but this will happen on the token exchange. And this is the important point behind, so that the market will find the fair value.
You just said basically the rules in your tokens in
Exactly
order to achieve that.
Exactly.
Okay. That will be everything I would like to know so far, and looking forward to have you on the FinTech news soon.
Same here, and already very excited to discuss with all the other guys what will be the FinTech trends for the next year. I think there's some exciting stuff coming up.
Hope so. Thank you very much.
Thanks.